What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Uncomplicated Podcast. I am Jules.
And I am Lily. We are your hosts.
We are your hosts. Uh, yeah. So basically, just a quick little tidbit on us. We are a couple. We live together. We've been together for a little over a year now, and we are both personal trainers. And we want to put together this podcast to talk about fitness goals, fitness lifestyle, fitness tips, and also relationship stuff. We're not saying that we are perfect at all. It's not what we're trying to say. But we've been through different relationships, and we know what we want and we know what we don't want, and we want to share.
But it's not about that today.
Well, it is about fitness.
Yeah, fitness.
Yeah. So, how about we just, in order to kind of put them in the scenario, talk about ourselves when we were there. Because, yes, we are talking to you beginners slash people that are not sure about going to the gym. How did it start for you? And what did you do to kind of find your way in the gym? Because especially for women, it can be a scary thing. I heard.
Yeah.
I cannot attest to it, but
Yeah. Wow. Gotta take me way back.
it can't be that far back. We'll start working out at 10 or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um. Well, I was lucky enough in a way. I would play sports, competitive sports. So we at one point at a certain age, they're like, "Okay, let's start doing some strength and conditioning." So I kind of got introduced to the gym at that point. But again, it was a smaller studio gym. It was with girls because they're full hockey team. So, but then when I started going to the gym, like an actual gym without like a sports team, I want to say it was after high school, like the year after high school. I think it was, I would have been 19. Yeah, 18, 19. And I don't actually really remember it, but it's hard. It's
Like,
like
did you just start going to the gym? Did you go with friends? Did you like
I
how did you know what to do?
I just took what I had learned.
Yeah.
So
So you had the opportunity to learn from others prior to starting your own journey.
yeah, like I learned from trainers, like
Yeah.
so.
So you were privileged.
Yes,
In
yes, I
that
was.
sense. Yeah.
But yeah, well, at first I went alone, and then you kind of, when I really started getting a little bit more into it, and I found YouTube and like people that were on YouTube, I started watching a little bit more like the exercises they were doing, and I was incorporating that a lot. I also learned a little bit in high school, like anatomy, and like we took during gym class you had like a strength class, but I kind of just honestly just watched the videos, like strength training videos from like girls on YouTube, and then mimic those movements, try to see what feels good and not good. I don't really remember how I felt in like intimidated wise. I know a lot of people are like start on the cardio, and like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of females just stay on the cardio because the strength training is. But I think I just, like I just went
You just
and
did it.
did yeah. Like
Yeah.
at first it was awkward because like I only knew strength and conditioning stuff, so I was trying to mimic that. But that strength and conditioning, it's like on turf. It's like weird like drills. It's more drills than like working out. So I didn't really get to do that. So I think I just was stuck with machines at first, and then when I learned a little bit more on strength, like how to use dumbbells, and that's when I like kind of went towards more like dumbbells in a little corner
Mm-hmm.
behind everybody. But I also got lucky because I went to college for physio, and then we had to go to the gym. It was part of our like schooling. And then I had a friend that she's done strength training, so I learned a lot from her. I like don't. It's wild that you're asking this because I'm like I never really thought of it. Like where did I learn? And I'm like I can't remember one specific place that I learned it. Like it just happened.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel more intimidated now. Weirdly, just saying like me going into the gym, like a Fit for Less gym, I'm a lot more nervous than I think I used to be because I'm so used to having our own gym.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird. So I get it.
Now, do you want to hear my?
Well, of course. I might have heard it before. That's why. But yes, please share your story of starting strength training or going to the gym.
Yeah. So, how it happened, a similar start time. It was like right after high school. And I had a buddy of mine that was super into it. And it was like our way to hang out. We would go to the gym
Mm-hmm.
and then go eat food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was our hangout. Um, and at first, I would just do it to do it. Like, I didn't care much.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, yeah, sure. I'll just follow you. I'll try to do things. And after a while, I was like, kind of got hooked. And then I I didn't want to depend on somebody anymore
Mm-hmm.
to know what to do. So I kind of dove into some research and some and as you know, when I find something that I like, I dive all the way in and I try to do my best at it. And so that's what happened. So I would I would spend that's crazy that now that I say that uh I would spend work hours looking up exercises and what they do and what muscles they work and how to do them and like and all those things. And at the time YouTube was not like the go-to place.
Yeah.
Uh so it's more like Google searches and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And it's like how like what would make a complete shoulder workout, and then it's like okay, you gotta work the rear delt. It's like oh, okay, like what exercises work the rear delt, and I would just like write everything down, pen and paper, and I had my little notepad with the exercises and the sets and the and that's how it started. And yeah, that's just like so you sometimes you do have to do the work on top of the work in order to feel comfortable and to know like not all of us comes from a place where
Mm-hmm.
we were taught
Mm-hmm.
from other trainers. It's just like I just had my buddy who was like he was good at working out, but like he 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 I didn't depend on him to teach me, you know?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't a trainer, he was just somebody that works out. So yeah, so that's how I started. And then eventually like bodybuilding.com
Yeah.
gave out free programs at one point, so that was very helpful. Although looking back, they were pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously YouTube was a big part, so I started following a few key people to start to know like what I need to do, like how hard should I work is another one.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like you see people work out on YouTube that have the results that you want and you see how hard they work and you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like I have to push. I can't just like work out. Like
Yeah.
I gotta push for change. So just seeing them work out also helped with that idea of like what I need to do. Um, so yeah, so that's basically how I started. It's where I learned most of my things was like because I wanted to learn for myself. So I did a lot. I spent a lot of time on like looking stuff and like figuring stuff out and seeing what works, what doesn't work. What's the difference between high reps and low reps? What's the difference between like partial reps and full range reps and like all of those things? It's all things that I, because you hear one thing and you're like, okay, but now I want to know. Because I don't like going to a gym in a small town. Everyone talks to each other, so
Yeah.
everyone kind of helps each other out.
Yeah.
So everyone's got tips for one another. It's like, oh, you want this? Do this. And it's like, but is it actually what I need to do? And then obviously, uh, hired a coach for my bodybuilding show, so that helped even more
Yeah.
in terms of like knowing how to do an exercise. It was the first time ever that I like hired a personal trainer, I guess you can say, coach, and they corrected a lot of my form, so that helped with my knowledge. So yeah, that's where I started.
It's funny how completely different.
Very different. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I did go with friends at first, which helped because I did have that feeling of like bro, I don't know what I'm doing in here.
yeah.
So like don't leave me hanging.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, no, just suis-moi.
Yeah.
Fais juste faire ce que je fais."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I remember the first time he had me do deadlifts. I was like, "What the fuck? Like what is this?
Yeah.
Like what is this working? I like it feels like my back's going to tear
Yeah.
apart."
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I remember like first ever time trying deadlifts, it was up 135. And then looking back, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. 135. Yeah.
Like I was
That's heavy.
I was not strong enough for that
No.
at that point.
Yeah.
Like keep in mind when I started working out, I was like 125 pounds.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like
God.
it was more than my body weight for my
Yeah.
first ever deadlift.
Yeah.
Didn't know how the form would go, didn't know anything. I was
Yeah.
just like, he was just like, yeah, you just lift it off the floor. And I was just like, okay. So I did.
Yeah.
Sore as hell the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. See, I was told to like stay away from deadlifts.
Which is fair for an athlete.
Yeah.
Minimize the risk.
Yeah. Well,
That's fair.
it was also like a Cairo that told me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
But he was like, you need to have a professional show you how
Yeah.
to deadlift. In my head, I'm like, I don't have any professionals around me. Like, you're my like, show me how to deadlift. But it's like he doesn't
Yeah.
a minute. But yeah, no. See, I was the friend people would come like. I didn't have a girlfriend that knew how to strength train in college. My first year, like, she taught me a little bit, but before that, like, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
You
Like,
were the exercise friend.
yeah, like I was
Yeah.
a sporty, I was a tomboy, so like
Yeah.
girls would come and see me for like, so yeah, and it's funny because I can't even remember like how I learned. Like it just throughout those pretty much 7 years, like I've just learned, and it's just like it's I don't know. I can't pinpoint a time of like when I learned. It just build up.
Yeah.
Of like, but anyways.
I mean, you did go to school for that also, so that helps.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I started as an assistant physio. That's where I went to college for, and that's where I learned. I don't remember. Like, see, this is the thing. It's like I don't even remember when I learned how to strength train. It wasn't at Algonquin, because I already knew I was going to the gym beforehand. So I'm just like, yeah, it was weird. I think I just knew. I learned from YouTube, from the girls that were working out.
Yeah.
Learned what workout is. The programming, I think I learned a little bit in assistant physio because after a while you have to program stuff. But then it was how to move properly. I learned from assistant. I learned from anatomy class. I learned like I think that's how I combined the two. Was just like it's not just a squat. There's a way of of squatting, and I learned that in anatomy kind of thing. So, anyways, it's very like to me. I feel like how you went through it is a hard work, learning it all by yourself.
It was hard work.
Like I'm like thinking of that. I'm just like I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to dedicate so many hours of trying to figure out what movement. Like I'm curious to know if I didn't go into like if I
Yeah.
didn't go that route in school. Like if
Yeah.
I went like a completely like arts or something like that, and I would have stuck to training. Like would I? How would I ever learn this? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, very interesting. But yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah. The amount of times I googled like how do you do a squat, and I would just analyze the hell out of that squat, and then I would film myself squatting, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I need to work on this and this and this.
yeah.
Yeah. Um.
But
Yeah.
actually, I want to add something that might be interesting because I remember when I did the strength and conditioning, and there was squats involved. But they never told us how to squat. They just said like you're
Of
gonna
course.
grab this, and you're gonna,
Yeah.
and it's just like
Of course.
it just happened.
I mean,
They don't
you
have time to explain
you're
12
young.
girls to 12. Yeah.
You were young too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's very different.
Yeah. But
You're a young athlete. Your body just figures it out.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so a lot of things have changed since those times.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you're a seasoned veteran in the gym and the personal training world, uh, what advice would you give to a listener right now that's like going through this? That's like that wants to start and that's just doesn't know where to start, doesn't know, goes into the gym is find themselves like they don't know what they're doing, they feel uncomfortable, they just don't know where to start and how to start.
It depends on what they're like where they're at, what they're up to, like what they want to do, what they're up for, like what they have access to, like
Okay, so let's simplify it.
yes, please.
It doesn't, you don't know any of that. It's just somebody that's just like, look, I want to start working out, but I'm lost. What should I do?
To me,
To
if
you
they're asking me.
personally.
Well, I would give them a program, like a like
So
start with these
so you would
movements.
write a program for them.
Yeah.
So you would tell them to go get a program, whether it's from you or somebody else, get a program that would help them.
Yeah. Like if they're trying to start training,
Yeah.
I would be like find anybody that can give you a program, a
Yeah.
basic program.
Yeah.
Even Google basic workout program, AI, you know. And then go look up the movements and then do things low weight and try it out. Honestly, like find your like if like I'm just thinking of squats specifically, like just do your body, trying to figure out what feels good, what doesn't. Like if you don't have a coach, like if you don't have somebody to physically show you,
Yeah, no,
like
they don't have a coach.
just
We are their coach right now. They're listening to us and we're giving them advice. And you're telling them, go get a program, which is great. Because in order to not be lost,
yeah,
you need a plan.
yes,
So if you have a plan going into the gym, there's no way you can be lost. Now, sometimes what your plan says, the machine is either occupied or broken or that specific gym doesn't have it.
yeah,
And it's like, then it's like, what do you do? So that can be an obstacle, but the fact that you have a plan in the first place is already step one, in my opinion. Like, find a plan somewhere.
yeah,
So that way you don't go into the gym being like, what do I do? Where do I start?
yeah,
It's like, no, you know where to start. It says warm up, 10 minutes cardio, and then it says leg press machine. You know where to start. Like, so you just take your phone or piece of paper and you just go, okay, I gotta go do cardio 10 minutes.
yeah.
So that will definitely help get you started and get those weird feelings of, I don't know what I'm doing in here, kind of just go away for a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Anything else you would help them with or tell them? Or is that your trick? Sorry, I just moved around. So if there was weird noises, that's me.
Get a program and go. Find
Oh.
a gym. Find a gym that you want to go to.
Yeah,
You can find a friend also.
that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just write down what you want to do. Go in, do that. You can people watch, see what they're doing too.
That helps.
Don't constantly stare at them because they'll be like, "What are you looking at?"
Because then you'll have that feeling of,
Yeah.
what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Getting a plan is the first thing, and it'll take away most of your stress on the going to the gym part. Um, the next, honestly, and what helped me a lot was, and it sounds weird, but you did it, I did it. Go on YouTube, find somebody in the fitness industry that you can relate to
Mm-hmm.
or that you enjoy watching, and just see how they work out. That will change a lot. Seeing how a person that has results that you would like, looking at what they're doing and what how they work out is going to help you figure out what you're doing and how you can improve on what you're doing. That's my tip, followed by your tip.
Yeah.
So get a program and then like look at people working out that have the results that you have.
That you want, yeah.
Yeah. Look how hard they're working, how consistent they are, how often they work out. Because a lot of people think to get results, you need to work out 7 days a week. And it's like, no, you don't need to. And most people don't. If you look back at your story,
Yeah.
with everything that you know now, is there anything you would change?
Probably so many things. I don't know. C'est compliqué.
Why is it complicated?
I can't.
Can't process.
No, things aren't processing. It's because I don't remember. Like, I'm like, well, this might be a good one. It's like, I think I had a hard time being like consistent or with my exercises. Like, I kept switching them up and all that. And it's only because I didn't watch just one person. Like, I watched a lot of like different YouTubers and then on Instagram and then learning from school, learning from like, you get all this information and then you're like, what the hell do I do? Like,
Yeah.
one is saying this, one is saying that. So I think that honestly, I would have, the like biggest advice I would give is just, it's like find someone, find a program, find something and stick to that one
Mm-hmm.
for a while and see how it feels. Because if you switch every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
you're not gonna see one results. You're gonna feel confused and like looking up. I don't know. It depends who you are, but for me, it's like if I kept looking up every week like how to do a squat, and I would get all this information. Like there's like a bunch of different ways. I'd be like, well, which one's the right one? Especially that like people are like strength training, like I get hurt from it. It's just like because of bad form, let's say, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
so it's like find something that works for you and stick to it. Find that one influencer, let's say, and be like follow their program for or like what they're doing or learn from them. And if you watch other people, it's like take in what they say, but like focus on that one person, like just for a while until you're like this isn't lifestyle wise too. Like they might be going to the gym and you're just like I can't do that many times. I have school, I have this, I have work, I have, you know, I don't have a gym membership. I can't afford one, you know. So stick to one thing because I don't think, and I think I'm impacted by the just being lucky enough to have crazy amount of knowledge from different people
Mm-hmm.
from it, and now piecing it everything together. 7 years after.
I mean, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I fell for that trap too. It's like you find a video of somebody saying, "Oh, don't do squats, do these instead."
Mhm.
And you're just like, "Oh, okay." Then you scrap your whole program and you start, and it's just like with time, looking back, it's like there's no exercises that are better than others. It's like as long as you work your muscles, all of them, don't skip any muscle groups. As long as you work all of your muscles, whichever way you work them, and you work them hard, you're going to get the results that you want. Now, if your results are unrealistic and you're like, I want to look like The Rock, and you're 5'3", 120, I would say just have more realistic goals.
You keep bringing that example up. Is that because you wanted to look like The Rock?
No, it's just because everybody knows who he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I could say a random bodybuilder and people would be like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. No,
But
that's
if I say
fair.
The Rock, people are like, yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
um, but yeah, so it's like just know where you're at, work hard. Don't try to find the perfect exercises. Just try and find the ones that you can push really hard. That's it. Because you'll never, there's never going to be a perfect exercise.
No.
There's just going to be the ones that you do well and you work hard with. That those will be the best ones for you.
Yeah.
And looking back, if I would have known that, my life would have been way easier because I was always looking for that next best thing of like oh, like if you want a bigger chest, you got to do your flies before your press.
Yeah.
And it's just like just train your chest.
Yeah.
Like train your chest hard and train it. That's all you need to do. Um like yeah, so keeping it simple, not flip-flopping like you said, just sticking to something and having a plan, honestly. Just if you're starting out, getting a plan, finding a plan, buying a plan, however you get that workout plan is what's going to keep you consistent and like motivated to go, because you're not going to have that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've listened this far into the podcast, we're talking about plans. We're talking about finding a plan. Well, I feel generous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, if you are interested and you are starting your workouts and you don't know where to start and you're listening to this, and like I said at the beginning, we are two personal trainers. We've been doing it for, well, you've been doing it for almost 5 years.
Mhm.
I've been doing it for almost 10 years. Um, so we've done many programs and plans in our past. Uh, but if you honestly, yeah, I'll do it. If you subscribe to
Yeah.
to YouTube,
Yeah.
if you follow us on Instagram at
Dot. Oh.
rise with a
Oh.
5,
Yeah. I'll put it in the.
put it in the description.
Yeah.
Okay. And follow us on Spotify.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
subscribe.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to us on Spotify.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah. And then follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
All three? They have to do all three?
All three.
They have to do all three.
And then you have to DM us on the Rise Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's Rise Fitness with a 5 on Instagram. And if you do all three and you've listened this far into the video and you DM us on Instagram, be like, yo, I did all three. What's a word they could use to just DM us and say what? DM us and say free program.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Yeah, to know that
Yeah.
they're coming from
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah. DM us to say free program. And I will personally create and send you a free program.
Wow, very generous.
Yep. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're going to try to uncomplicate at least one life in the gym
Yeah.
by sending them a free program. I hope you enjoyed this conversation about our start and how we would help people now compared to how we did it, which is honestly pretty similar. Except I wouldn't want you to do all the work I did. I already did
Yeah.
all that work.
Yeah, you
So
don't need to
yeah,
go.
just go see somebody that already knows everything. Unless you want to make it like a hobby for you, then yeah, by all means do it. But yeah, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.
Boy.